Hi everyone, welcome to TrainHR's live webinar on managing conflict. My name is Liz and I'm going to be your host today. On behalf of the TrainHR team, I would like to thank you for being part of this event. Today's webinar will be presented by G. Herbert Miller. Herb Miller has over 30 years of proven success in a wide array of organizational experiences. He has served companies around the world through the facilitation of training and consulting. His experiences as a production manager and human resource manager continue to provide him great insights into helping organizations succeed. Herb is a well-respected adjunct professor at Boston University, where he teaches group and organizational behavior, organizational theory and design, leadership and management, and human resource management. Herb is a master trainer for Pathways Incorporation, a world leader in training and consulting to the life science industry. He has delivered training in Kappa to clients around the world. He also trains and certifies traders. Herb holds facilitator certification with DDI, achieved Global Expert OJT, and Innovation. He has a BA in Organizational Management and MA in Human Resource Management. We are honored to have such a distinguished person such as Herb Miller with us to present this webinar. Ladies and gentlemen, before we begin, I would like to inform you of the program outlined for today's session. This webinar is for 60-minute duration. First, Herb will take you through today's webinar, highlighting the area that will be covered, and he would then share with you his presentation. I'd also like to inform you that all participants, once part of this teleconference, have been placed on mute and will remain so until the Q&A begins towards the end of this webinar. This is for the purpose of avoiding any kind of discontinuity and also allowing the presenter to speak clearly, so that everyone present can take maximum benefit from this webinar. I also request all to hold back your questions until the Q&A window begins. 10 minutes of time will be allotted for the Q&A, during which your questions will be answered. And if for any reason, ladies and gentlemen, you get logged out of this training session or teleconference, please follow the same procedure to join in again. Now that we are all ready to start, I request Herb to take it from here. Herb.
Thank you, Liz. Thanks to all of you. It's good to have you here today, and I'm pleased to be able to present this to you. One of the most critical skills in today's organizations, as far as a requirement, is conflict management, and I'm sad to say that in many cases it's missing or not done well in a lot of organizations, and especially as we claim diversity as a competitive advantage, is very important for organizations to be able to manage conflict well. So I applaud you for being here, and again, appreciate your interest. One other thing I want to add before we get started is that for all the advantages that webinars offer, because I'm not able to see my audience and I miss the nonverbal body language that helps me to tell if I'm being clear on points or if I'm confusing you. So please, if you have questions, please make sure that you ask them so that I can serve you well and that we don't miss anything. So at the end, we'll be answering questions, and I invite you to ask your questions at that time. So let's get started. Our objectives today, we're going to define conflict. Now, conflict is neutral. It is neither good nor bad. It depends on what we do with it. It determines if it's good or if it's bad, if it's positive or negative. We're going to look at the dimensions of conflict and look particularly at 5 distinct modes or styles of conflict and what they mean to us. You'll be able to begin to identify your dominant conflict style. Everybody has a style that's kind of their go-to in terms of when they deal with conflict. And so you'll be able to begin to recognize that. And we'll talk about assessing conflict situations. And ultimately, you'll be able to use this knowledge to effectively manage conflict situations, whether you're involved in those conflict situations or you're mediating conflict for others. Conflict is any situation where your concerns or desires differ from another person. Conflict results because we have different values, different beliefs, different wants and needs, backgrounds, priorities. We have different goals, and we have different perceptions, which is also a cause of conflict. You know, the list is really endless as to what can cause conflict between us or between groups. And we each interpret things differently. We're all different. We're all unique. Part of what causes conflict is because we see the world through our own lens, our own different lens. And that, too, creates conflict. Let me illustrate. I'm going to show you 3 slides. And unfortunately, because I can't hear you, I won't be able to hear your response. But we'll talk through them. It'll work out okay. But look at these slides. Tell me what you see. Well, you can't tell me. But do you see that face looking down a little bit towards the left? The face, the silhouette of a person? Well, if you turn your head a little bit to the right, kind of a 45-degree angle, you'll see the word liar. Which one did you see? Let's look at the next one. There's 2 elderly people here that are staring into each other's eyes. And you can see the sleeves of their shirts as they have their arms around each other. Or do you see a chalice or vase there in the middle, and on the base there's a guitar player sitting across from his lady friend, and she's holding on to her sombrero. And over on the right side of the picture, there's a lady in a doorway. Which did you see? Same picture, different interpretation. Let's look at one more. Here's a scholarly-looking man looking to our left. His right hand is over his left breast pocket. He's got some kind of a decoration or something there on his shoulder. Or do you see a man and a woman on the sidewalk in front of an archway? And there's a dog that's sleeping there in the street. It's interesting. We all see the same world, but we see it differently because we're all different. And we interpret it differently. And that's part of why we have conflict. Somebody told me one time that no 2 people are exactly alike. Or if there are 2 people that are exactly alike, one of them's not needed. I told my wife that once, and she told me she knows which one of us wouldn't be needed. So anyway, we'll move on. Conflict management it's all about limiting the negative things and increasing the positive aspects of conflict. As I said, conflict is neutral, and managing conflict well will help us to be more successful, better leaders, better managers. Our organizations and people will be better. Managing conflict well does give us a competitive advantage in the marketplace. And I think that's the economic value of diversity. And managing conflict well means that we can leverage it, and it can work for us. You know, it all comes down to this formula, E plus R equals O. Any event, we can't control the events that happen. The only variable is our response. And so it's our response to any events that are going to determine the outcome of that event. Let's look at the modes for handling conflict. Now this is comes from the Thomas Kilmann instrument, the TKI. It's been around for about 40 years. It's very simple to use and understand. I have taught it in a lot of different organizations. I teach this in my organizational behavior class. I love it for its simplicity and yet its effectiveness. And we're going to use this model to understand the 5 styles of conflict. Now, typically when I do a conflict management workshop, my participants would have taken a self-assessment at the beginning. And we don't have that luxury, but that's not a problem. That won't change things at all. But I want to mention that, and I'm going to tell you at the end of the workshop, if you'd like to do that, I'll tell you how you can make that happen. But in our model here, there's 2 dimensions that we will assess when it comes to conflict. The y-axis of our model is a measurement of our assertiveness. And basically what that is all about is